Hey, welcome back, everybody. So I had a coach friend of mine hit me up and ask me for suggestions for new students that, the second they get on a board, whether they're, in the grass where they can't roll or whatnot, they just instantly want to try ollies. And he asked me, like, what do you do with someone who's just starting out who wants to try to learn ollie? Maybe what are the first few things that you learn? So in this video, I'm going to break out just a handful of things that you can focus on if you're a beginner, you've never tried an ollie before, or you want to help someone learn how to ollie, and just give you a few little steps that will make a big difference. And I think this is a great place to start because it's fun and it's low consequence, low risk, and will definitely help give some of the sensations for an ollie. But let me be clear, this is certainly not the entire ollie lesson if there was one. These are just a few things to help yourself or for you to help others get started learning how to ollie. Okay, so in this video, we're going to break down just a handful of moves to help you sort of learn an ollie with maybe out actually doing an ollie. Who knows? Maybe it leads to doing little ollies for some people, but we're just going to start with three really simple things. So first, we're going to get low and float. That means we're just going to get down really low, and then we're going to rise up and feel ourselves getting weightless.
So start this low and float move by getting all the way as low as you can and then rising all the way up onto your tiptoes. And once you're up on your tiptoes, just slowly get low again and just do that a few times. Then you're gonna wanna start from the tallest position you can be in and drop down so fast that your feet come off the board a tiny bit. And you'll just barely see those feet coming off or feel those feet coming off the board, but you'll feel that disconnect. And the disconnect does not come from pushing and jumping up. It comes from dropping down really fast. And that's the same as in an ollie. When you start to pull your knees up to you, your knees and feet come towards your body, you're actually simulating that with this drop move. So it's get low, rise up and down, right? Then it's get tall and drop down really fast. Then we're gonna put that together. So you're gonna get low, you're gonna rise up, and then drop really fast. And as you do it, remember to rise up to your tippy toes a little bit, so it's kind of like, what you'd feel when you're snapping off the tail with that extension, but then drop real fast. And again, you're not rising fast, you're not jumping, you're just rising nice and smooth and then dropping fast to feel weightless in that low and float.
We're not actually going to jump off the board, but it's okay if you jump a little bit, but you want to feel like your feet are getting a little bit light. And that's a really important piece because that getting light move is something you want to train into the initiation of ollie. So with a beginner, they got to be able to get down low and then rise up and feel their feet get light. And eventually they'll be jumping into the air, of course, and bringing the board with them, ideally. Now, the next move that they're going to make is what I kind of call a tiptoe tail tap. So you're going to think about keeping the heel up really high and then lifting the nose of the board by lifting the front leg, pulling that front knee up and tapping, but with your toes extended in that sort of tiptoe position. So, and in a real ollie, we don't actually want to touch the toes to the ground, or we don't want the toes touching the tail of the board while the tail hits the ground. We want separation there, but that comes later on when we're jumping. Right now, this is just sort of a feel thing. We're trying to get them used to feeling those toes, the ankle extended, kind of flicking to their tiptoe and just getting a little tail tap. So a little tail tap and then set it back down. Now, a few times it's good to practice tapping all the way, but also lifting the nose without actually tapping, because that's what it's going to feel more like when you actually jump into the air. When you jump into the air, you're going to get low and float, you're going to jump, and then you're going to lift that front foot, right? And you're going to flick the back foot, but the back foot, the toe of the back foot actually isn't touching the tail when the tail hits the ground. All right, so from that move, we want to practice just getting different sort of variations. And you can even practice lifting and then hop, if your foot's touching the tail while it's on the ground, you can then sort of pick the back foot up and land back on the board, set the nose down. You can also practice just little taps. Tap, pick the nose up, tap it, pick the nose up, tap it, and get used to that leveraging move, because that's actually pretty scary for beginners to learn. And one thing I want to point out is that when beginners learn how to do an ollie, disconnecting from the skateboard for someone who's just started skateboarding or is pretty new to it, that's a very scary thing, especially when they're rolling. Jumping off the board is actually kind of terrifying, and jumping off and then trying to land back on a rolling board, that's even scarier. So keep that in mind. And I would do all of these moves first, not rolling, say on the carpet, on the grass. If you have the skater trainers or, soft trucks, or, crank the bolts down so the wheels don't roll, anything to keep the skater stationary, right? Just static. So we've got that low and float move where they're getting low and they're rising. Then we've got the tiptoe tail tap. And now we've got to learn how to roll the front foot. So we're going to just practice rolling that front foot a little bit. You can have the board flat. You can do it standing up, get off the board and stand there and practice rolling the foot and get a feel for it. But we're going to do a move that I call the rip and roll, right? So we're going to rip that foot off the board and then roll the foot into position. So the foot pulls back, rolls, and moves up towards the nose. And the first few times, just practice, rolling the foot as you do the tiptoe tail tap, right? So just get the little tail tap going and feel the foot roll a little bit. Get a few of those. And then eventually you want to get to where as you do the tiptoe tail tap, you're ripping the foot off the board a little bit and racing it up and getting it past the front wheels into that forward rolled position, and then set it back down. And once you get a few of those and you're feeling good about that, you can then go right into that rip and roll. And once the tail taps, you can just sort of hop a little bit, off the back foot, lift that back foot up off the board, and then land back on the board. Now, again, you're not really coming off the skateboard because your front foot in this case will stay connected to the board and the wheels aren't coming off the ground necessarily. Now, so you can do that as many times as you want and just get them playing with it until they can put those three moves together. So we're going to get low, right? We're going to rise and float. As we rise up, when we get near our tallest position, that's when we're going to get our little tail tap, right? As we go for the tail tap, we're going to feel that front foot roll. We're just going to keep putting it together. So low, float, tiptoe tail tap with a rip and roll. Do it again, repeat. And as you do each one of the moves, so when you're doing just lifting the nose and tapping the tail, get low and then rise and lift, right? As you do the rip and roll, the roll the front foot, get low and rise and roll. When you do the rip and roll, get low, rise, and rip and roll. And then keep putting it together until you're able to do it without touching the tail in control. You want to see, or if you're helping another skater, make sure that you can do it without tapping the tail all the way, and make sure you can do it with tapping the tail all the way. Make sure you can do it lifting the back foot up off the board a little bit or not, and play with it until you have good feel for the timing and the sequence of these three moves. Now, if you decide you want to take this from static, just playing around and not rolling, and you want to go into a rolling situation, you want to practice these things individually. Don't try to put it all together right away. Don't go out and just assume that you can now do a rolling ollie, or that's a good idea to take your student or the person you're helping or yourself and start doing these moves right away. Start slowly. With the roll, go do a rolling knock where you just roll and you lift the nose a little bit and tap the front wheels, right? And then slowly progress that into a tiptoe tail tap over time, right? Get to where you can do it quick and put them back down. And then once you've got that, then you can practice lifting the nose just a little bit and rolling the front foot, set it back down. And then go into a tiptoe tail tap, lift and roll, right? And then again, you want to add in every single time. Once you've got a little bit of stability there, then start adding in the low and float. So get low, right? Rise up and then time those moves and put it together.
The sensations that your students or that you're going to get when you practice these are really simple. First, that low and float is going to teach you how to get weightless and make it less scary for you to disconnect from the skateboard, because you're not really disconnecting, but you're getting light and you're quickly recovering contact with the board. So it's going to feel stable and safer, and it's going to help overcome those fears and apprehensions to jumping and popping into an ollie. Now, the tiptoe tail tap is going to really help speed up the action of levering the board into a big chunk of the ollie action, right? But it also does something really important. It helps you feel that ankle extending, which is so important, because a lot of people, when they learn how to ollie, they just sort of put weight and stomp down. But now you're thinking about driving those toes down, extending the ankle, which is going to help you help you better understand how to snap the tail into the ollie, getting that flick with the back foot. And finally, that rip and roll move is going to help you really feel how difficult it is to pull the front foot off and slide it up. It's actually, when you first do them, you won't be able to move your front foot. It won't disconnect. It won't slide at all. But then as you get better at creating a little disconnect by pulling that foot back as you roll, you're going to start to feel the foot slide to the nose. Now, practicing those 3 moves together is just going to enable you to feel the sensations of the some of the important sensations of the Ollie, and in a way that isn't going to be scary to learn, and you don't have to overcommit or just try an Ollie. You get to break it down into some simple sensations that you can practice, getting weightless and moving into the Ollie lever action.
And sure enough, if you do enough of those, you're going to get a pretty good feel for what it's like to initiate an Ollie and start working your way into it. And for anybody who's struggling with it, I highly suggest that you break things down this way. But for my coach friend who is asking for the help, I hope this helps you with your students and gives you good ideas to help them out. And for anybody who's just trying, an Ollie, maybe this is their first time ever even thinking about Ollieing. You can roll, you can carve, you can do little kick turns and tic tacs and things like that. And now you're going, all right, well, how do I progress? How do I get into it? This is a great way to start into it. And hopefully this video and all the other breakdowns help speed up your learning process, so that learning the Ollie, while it is a lifelong pursuit to get better at them, hopefully you can at least do some little Ollies sooner than later. All right, I hope this helped you guys, and I look forward to seeing you all next time. Thank you so much, and be sure to like and subscribe, and share ideas in the comments. If you like this, if you want more, if you want a suggestion for how to overcome a fear of some part of doing the Ollie, just hit me in the comments, and I'll follow up as soon as I can. I try to do one of these videos a week, and I'll get you on the list. All right. Thank you so much. See you guys next time.
Our goal is to help you learn how to skateboard and understand more about skateboarding. If this video helped you, be sure to hit us up in the comments below and tell us what you'd like us to focus on for our next video. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and then subscribe to our channel and tell your friends all about us. If you'd like to learn more about the United States Skateboard Education Association, please visit www.ussea.us, where you can learn more about how to skate, learn more about helping others learn how to skate, and become a certified skateboard coach.